Halo extensions are the gateway to the hair extension world. Easier than a clip set and fast as lightning. I'm going to show you how to build your very own custom Halo hair extension piece. To begin your piece, you will need weaving hair, liquid gold or another bonding agent, your shears, and monofilament. We are using a 20-pound fishing line. We are first going to begin by measuring our wefts. Now, we're going to find a single layer and we're going to hold this up to our head. Now, typically halos go from side to side around the back, conventionally pretty low, but I like to wear them up a little bit higher so you have less of an extension shelf to cover. So I'm going to go from here all the way around, and you don't want to have a mullet, so pull it over your ears, ladies. So you want to go from side to side a little bit more towards the front than you feel comfortable. Okay, so low but to the sides. So we're going to hold up our weft and we're just going to use the weft. You could use a ribbon or a piece of paper if this is too cumbersome because it can get kind of awkward. We're going to pull it around, go side all the way to the side. Use your fingers to kind of make sure it's as long as you want it in the back. And side to side. Okay, so that's where we're going to cut. So that's our piece right there. And that is the piece that we're going to base this whole entire hair piece on. We're going to cut 2 other additional layers to the same length, and then we're going to glue them together. Lay your second row of weaving hair over the first. Make sure that it's the same length. Just had to stretch it out there. Okay, now we're going to do that again with a 3rd layer. If you have weaving hair that's particularly thin at the ends, and this happens from cheaper weaving hair places, I will not name names, you can see it. So just make sure that you're doing another 4th and sometimes even a 5th row and then trimming the ends off because it will look snaggly. So we're going to go all the way to the side and cut. Next, we're going to use our liquid gold and bond those all together. If you have an unruly weft, you can go ahead and flat iron it out. I'm far too impatient for that, so I'm just going to add my liquid gold. Now, when we add our liquid gold, we're doing it just below the sewn part. We're doing it a little bit on the sewn part, but just below because we are actually going to be layering our wefts so that they're not right on top of one another. This is going to give us a smoother transition so that you don't have one giant lump and it's going to be more angled and more smooth. That gives you a more believable installation. Once we get this painted, we're just going to let it tack up. Now that tacking process is going to take a few minutes, so I won't make you sit through that. You'll know that your liquid gold is ready to apply the other weft into when it feels a lot more tacky and a lot less liquidy. So our weft has been drying now for probably like 5 minutes or so, and we're gonna just tap it, and if it sticks to your finger, that's when you know you're ready to put the other weft on it. Don't touch it on the ends because you need those to be sticky. You can touch it anywhere in the middle. Don't touch it too much or it's gonna not stick anymore, but just enough and to know that it's ready. And then you're gonna begin positioning your other weft right on top of your adhesive. Give it some pretty good pressure and it will stick. So you'll have 1 solid weft rather than 2. And you can see here how we're staggering them and not going directly on top. That is going to give us a much smoother transition. Once we get this tacked down, we're just gonna hold it for a while. You wanna make sure that it's dried pretty darn good. And then we are going to do our 3rd layer. We're just gonna do it the same as the first, so I won't bore you with watching it. All right, our 3 wefts are all together, and now we're ready to put on our monofilament. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to pick up one end. We're going to part off a small section of the hair. And when I say small section, I mean really small section. You're going to do just this tiniest small amount of hair because you're trying to tie right towards the end of the weft. We are going to go around the weft. And with this piece of monofilament, I don't know if you can see it, but it's about this long now. I'm gonna actually pull it quite a bit longer because we want to have a really good grip on what we're doing. So we're going to go around and tie a knot, but make sure that your knot is actually tied around the weft. Don't tie it around the hair. You need to hold on to that weft. So that's where our knot will live. We're just going to put in several smaller knots to secure the knot that we made. Okay, like so. And when we feel like that knot is good and secure, we're just going to clip off that tail. All right, now we have this weft connected to a big spool of fishing wire, and that's not going to stay there. So we're going to measure out a lot more than we think we're going to need, and that's going to allow us to hold on. Because we're going to take this, and now we're going to measure it up on our head. To find out how long your monofilament needs to be, we're going to measure it against our own head. Get that into position. I'm going to make it live right about there. So this wire needs to come across and be that long, right there. So I'm going to hold it between my two fingers. I'm going to bring it around and not lose that spot. Now I've got lots of extra wire here to tie that piece with. So now we're going to simply wrap it around, not lose our spot, pinch it, tie a knot, and we seem to have a couple hairs in there. That's pretty normal. Hair is kind of tricky sometimes. So we're just gonna pull those over to the side and not tie them in. Okay, now that we've gotten those hairs out of the way, we're just going to cinch down that knot. And for this piece, I've got a layer that didn't quite make it. That's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch off a little bit more of the hair. I'm going to wrap it around again, pull it through. And I want to make sure that I get that weft right in there because that is where that durability factor comes in. I want to make sure that all three are tied together. Okay, so now I'm just going to make those smaller knots to make sure that it's on there and it's secure. Okay, once that's on there, I'm just going to take my scissors and just snip that away. So this is our completed halo piece. Now if you find that your halo slips at all, you can simply add a weaving clip to either side. These are snap clips that will help you with your installation. Once you put that on, you can slide these in and snap them down. Now you don't need to do this, these are completely optional. Let's take a look at what that looks like on an actual head. So the first step is to place it over the head. Now you're going to put this line pretty close to the front. If it slides back, that's okay. So on our mannequin, we're about here, ducking down. If you need additional pieces higher up, like let's say you have a very blunt haircut, you'll probably need to use some of that leftover weft, add a few weaving clips to it, and put some shorter pieces right across the back, and maybe a couple extra pieces on the side. That's just for blending. If you have longer hair that comes into a taper, these pieces are perfect and will work on their own. So in order to blend this, we're just simply going to take the natural hair and lift it over the top. And we're going to do that all the way around the piece. So we're just going to brush it forward and lift that out over the top. And just finger comb it in, and then we'll style, and we'll be all set. This completes our finished look. Halos are incredibly easy to build, and they're also incredibly fast to install. This completed style took us about 5 minutes. Thanks for watching, and if you liked this video, make sure that you subscribe to our channel so that you never miss a beat. And if you need products for your projects, check out doctoredlocks.com for all your hair extension needs.